All right, everybody, we're just a tad bit early, so we're going to wait and see if anybody else shows up. We'll give them about a minute, and then we'll get started. All right, so welcome to the webinar for round 5 of the Texas Travel Industry Recovery Grant Program. I'm Joshua Kirk, the program administrator, and with me I have my associate administrator, Lauren Rodriguez. Lauren, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Lauren. Looking forward to working with you all.
All right, so Lauren came up with most of the good ideas for the program that you guys are going to like, and I pretty much came up with all the bad ideas that are a result of me ignoring Lauren's solid advice. Uh, so it's not her fault. It's probably my fault if there's something you don't like. So the question and answer feature is off right now. I find that for the most part, I answer all the questions people have during the presentation. But at the end, we'll turn it on and we'll answer your questions. But for now, I'm just gonna go through this. We've done it a few times. I'm a little rusty, but I think we'll be all right. So just hang in there until the end if you have questions. So here is the summary of the program, basically. So I'm sure, as most of you know, the federal government handed out a big chunk of money to the states in the American Rescue Plan. So part of that was the state and local fiscal recovery fund. And part of that, more specifically to the topic at hand, was $180 million that was allocated by the state legislature to respond to the pandemic's negative economic impact on the travel, tourism, and hospitality industry. So to that end, we developed the TTIR program to award grants of up to $20,000 to reimburse businesses that experienced an economic loss for eligible expenses, sorry. So of note here is the cost. This is a reimbursement grant, right? So you already spent the money. We're just going to look at your payroll, your invoices, whatever, to give you back money you've already spent. So the cost we're reimbursing had to have occurred on or after November 8th, 2021. However, the economic loss that we're looking for is between 2019 and 2020 or 2020 and 2021. So you must show a reduction in one of those two periods to qualify for the grant. And of course, the reimbursement costs, they cut off basically when you submit your application to us. So to be eligible, you have to fall under certain industry codes. You have to be privately owned and operated in Texas. You have to have been open prior to the start of the pandemic, which is the date that we've picked out for that is January 20th, 2020. You can demonstrate that economic loss due to the pandemic that I mentioned before. And I want to point out that a loss is a reduction in revenue. It's not a prediction, an estimate, or I should have made more money, right? We have to look at the reduction objectively. We can't be subjective about these things. Now those NAICS codes, we'll get into what we're allowing here in the fifth round in just a second. So basically, what you'll see on the top line there is the original NAICS codes for the program that we allowed in rounds 1 through 4. So those are going to be open again in round 5. So we're opening it back up. So if you are a restaurant and you fall in 722 and you missed your application window, or you didn't hear about it, or for whatever reason, you're going to be able to apply again. All right. Now, new businesses we're adding can be seen just below that. So those are going to be car rentals, scenic and sightseeing transportation, charter buses, inland water passage, coastal passenger transportation, deep sea passenger transportation, non-scheduled chartered air transportation, and scheduled passenger air transportation, right? Along with the usual suspects over on the left there, food services and drinking places, all the way down into breweries, wineries, and distilleries. So these are the ones we're allowing for round 5. If you don't know your NAICS code, that's okay. We've got links on the website to help you identify them. Also in the walkthrough video, I spend a long time showing you exactly where you can find them on your tax documents. So that's always great. Please don't email Lauren and I to tell you what your NAICS code is, because we probably don't know. And our call and email volume is pretty high as it is. So watch the video and you'll figure it out. I'll also give you a simple way to look at it now. So basically what you're seeing here is NAICS.com. You can also go to census.gov/NAICS, but much like most government websites, it's not exactly user friendly. I find that NAICS.com is really nice. So here in this scenario, up in the NAICS search, I'm going to pretend that I am a bowling alley. So basically I've entered the keyword bowling and I look down this list. I see, bowling here. I hit search, all this comes up, and I can have a look and see that I fall in as a bowling center. And that's my NAICS code. So I would fall into the 7-1 category, which would make me eligible for the grant as far as that requirement. So it's pretty easy. So something to remember is when we break out these NAICS codes, NAICS get more specific the longer they are. So for bowling center, right, this is literally a bowling center, right? If you knock a couple numbers off here, it becomes a little broader into some sort of like sport. But 7-1, we're allowing the entire 7-1 category. So as long as you start with 7-1, that's arts and entertainment and recreation, you're fine. So like if you, let's say your NAICS code started with 7211, right? You can apply because that's an eligible NAICS code. So if your NAICS code was 721191, which is a bed and breakfast, that would be fine. But if your NAICS code was 7213, which is like a boarding camp or a work camp, that wouldn't work because that's 7213, not 7211. Right. So that sounds kind of confusing, but once you sort of see it on paper, it's a little easier to understand. Plus, NAICS.com is here to help you out. So as I mentioned before, this is a reimbursement grant. So expenses need to have occurred from November 8th, 2021 through the time of the application. The priority is covering payroll cost, like employee salaries, fringe benefits, other than unemployment and pension funds, that sort of thing. The easiest way to do that is to submit a 941 if you file one, because that's all spelled out right there. Make sure it's signed with ink, because we can't actually verify very well the electronic signatures, so there's no arguing with ink, right? So just pop a signature in there where it says sign here and date it, and you should be good to go. So other than payroll, we've got some other costs here that you can do. If you have less than 20,000 in payroll, you can do COVID mitigation, which is basically anything that you may have bought to help safely reopen and interact with customers. So like masks, signs, those sweet clear plastic things they have up at the cash register at gas stations, that sort of thing. We can also do rent, leases, and utilities for a business location. We can't do mortgages. We can't do home offices. But if you have, let's say, a yogurt shop and you have to pay a utility bill, you can submit that to us, and that's eligible. We also can do professional bookkeeping services as well as contract labor. However, we have to be very specific with these. They have to show up on a Form 1040 Schedule C. Right? There's a little slot in there where this comes up. Those are the only ones that we can cover. So if you have, you've paid somebody a chunk of money to come in and maintain a piece of equipment, right? And it shows up on your 1040 Schedule C, we might be able to cover that one as long as you provide, a statement about what it was for, and then, the contract or agreement that you have with them, things like that. So that's not just, I pay my workers with a 1099 and I file an 1120. That's not going to work. It's only for 1040s. We had to be very specific with that for various legal reasons. I'd explain it, but I'm not a lawyer, so I'd get it wrong. So basically that's your eligible expenses, nothing else. No concrete pours, no roof replacements. Don't send me a picture of your building or a drawing of the road outside your house. These are things that we have received. I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to reimburse for that, but that's not going to fly. All right, so the application. Everything must come through the web portal. You can't email it to us. We can't fix it ourselves, right? This is something that has to be done on your end through the portal. I will tell you now, if you're using a Mac, that's fine. And I applaud your taste in computers, but the portal doesn't play well with Macs all the time. Not all of them, just some of them. So when you go to upload with a Mac, you're going to have to let it sit for just a minute and it'll upload. For some reason, it uploads very slowly. I don't know why. The tech guys don't know why. So just heads up on that. Other than that, we've tried to make it a very simple process that requires as little stress as possible. All right, so there's a step-by-step video walkthrough on the website of the application process where you get to listen to me drone on for a good 30 minutes. I think it's a pretty good video. I'm a little biased because I made it, but it literally will take you through every single question and upload on the application right through to the end where you certify it. So importantly, your application should reflect the information on your tax docs, right? So if your establishment is listed on your tax docs as Jimmy's Lemonade Stand, but you call it Tasty Lemonade Stand, in the application, put down Jimmy's Lemonade Stand because we can verify that against your tax docs, right? So for taxpayer address, whatever it says in the taxes is what you should put. If you want to get it sent to your mom's house, that's great. We're going to make you correct it to match the tax docs. Now, if there's some crazy reason why that shouldn't happen, let us know, and we'll work it out, right? We're somewhat flexible, though we are the government. But we'll, we're pretty understanding. We'll figure it out. Now you'll see in front of you here the list of tax docs that we can accept. We require 3 years worth of taxes. Now these can be Texas sales and use tax if that's what you want to use. It can be an 1120 if that's what you file, a 990 if you're a nonprofit, right? All of those have to be signed by an officer, right? Which if it's the 1040, it's you, and dated. The best thing to do, again, put an ink signature on it. It's the best way to go about it, and uploaded. So we have to be able to see the signature page. Don't just sign at like 4 or 5 random places on the page. There's a signature block. Yeah, please use it. So you'll need those to upload. You'll also need at least your most recent quarterly tax form 941 if you file one. If you don't, in the 941 slot, you can just write a little memo that says, I don't file a 941. I'm not required to file a 941, and that's fine. You'll also need, if you want veterans preference, you get a veteran service or benefits letter. I don't need your DD 214. They make for interesting reading, but that's a bit more information than we need. So veteran service letter is pretty easy to get. It's on the VA website. If you don't know how to do it, shoot me an email. I've done it a dozen times for my own reasons, and I can walk you through it. We also need invoices for reimbursement, right? Reimbursement grant, we have to have something to pay you for. So that can be like utility bills or rent agreements. A lot of times we'll want to see cash checks with that to prove that you actually paid it and it's all clear and good. 941's great for payroll if you have one. That's a super simple form. So that's great. An invoice in general, though, is a transaction record. Usually shows, how much you paid. It's got your address, some kind of letterhead on it, from the person you got it from, and what it was all about. Receipts usually show the same thing, but with a $0 balance, right? So if I go to the gas station, I get a receipt when I buy a Dr. Pepper, and it says that I paid, and the balance is $0. If I get a guy to come out and fix the deck I built because I didn't know what I was doing, he's probably going to give me an invoice for all of the lumber and labor. So that's, the difference between those two. Either one works for us. Now an invoice is not a few things here. It's not an Excel spreadsheet or a list of things that you just wrote down in a Word document. Okay. We can't really do much with that because it's not something we can verify. Don't send us bank account pictures. I know some of you don't keep your invoices or receipts. You can reach out to the billing party for copies, but ultimately, if we don't have proof, we can't reimburse the cost, right? You can upload as many of those documents as you need to. In fact, in any of our upload slots, you can upload as many documents as you need to. It might not look like it. You might think, well, I'm going to replace this. Not the case. Anything you upload is going to be saved in there. So if you have 12 individual tax forms you need to upload for 2020, you can upload each of them individually. And this is what the portal looks like, right? So here in the back, that's our portal web page. There's another web page that has more information on it, and you click launch portal, and it takes you to this little guy. And on here, it's got some more instructions. It's got my great portal instruction video that I've referenced. I really think you should use that, even if it's just to fall asleep at night. But it's a pretty simple website. Over here is the login page. This is what happens when you go to login. Remember, you have to first register, right? That's up here next to login, register. After you register, you'll get an email confirmation with a link that you need to click. If you can't find it, it's in your spam box. Please do not continually attempt to create the same account over and over. Don't withdraw your application unless you mean to stop applying, right? Now, if you don't get that confirmation email and you look in your spam box, let us know. Or you can go to the login page and you'll see resend email confirmation. That's a handy one. Also, if you forget your password, you can go here, and that'll take care of you. If any of that gives you trouble, let us know. Send us an email, and we'll get it sorted out for you. Now, if you have any other technical issues with the portal, please send us an email. Don't wait until 7 p.m. the night of the deadline. Right? I can only do so much in such a short period of time. So let us know. If we can fix it, we'll fix it. If we can't, we'll pass it along to our tech guys, and they will fix it. We've got a whole team of them down in the basement. We let them out every now and then for sun, but for the most part, they're just down there, doing whatever kind of computer magic they do. And we'll put them to work to get you sorted out. All right, so training for this, instructions, whatever you want to call it. As I mentioned, we've got the tutorial on the website. It's a great walkthrough. We also have an FAQ document also on the website, and we update that as common questions come up. It helps to clear up any sort of concerns or confusion you might have. Usually if you have a question, you check there and it'll tell you something useful. If not, like I said, just email us. All right, so common questions that we get a lot. Well, what if I don't have a 941? As I mentioned, upload a memo that says you don't have any employees that you need to file on a 941. What if you don't file your own whatever document? Well, if it's a 941 in the FAQ, we answer that question, and there's a special form that you can use, like if you have a third-party payroll provider, that you can send to them and they'll fill it out for you. If you don't file your own, 1040, 1120, whatever, 1065, just whoever files it for you should have a tax package. Just get that and you'll be able to upload it. Nonprofits, yes, we're open to nonprofits. Do I have to pay tax on this? That's a common one we get. I'm not a tax professional. I can read a tax document, but beyond that, you should not take tax advice from me. So I could give you an answer that would work for about 99% of you, which is a number I just made up, 99%. But someday when the IRS comes kicking in your door and it turns out you're that 1% that I was wrong about, you're going to be pretty mad at me. So I'm not going to give anybody any tax documents just in case. So I don't do any sort of tax recommendations or information. Speak to a tax professional. What if I have a technical issue related to the online application? Let us know. Take a screenshot. Okay. You may have to log back in to recreate the problem. Let us know what page it was, about what time it happened, and send us an email. Our email address, of course, will be on the last slide. And we'll get you sorted out. What counts as federal aid? So federal aid is a question we ask about on the application, like if you got PPP or whatever. So basically it's any federal aid that you got due to COVID that you don't have to pay back, right? So if you got a shuttered venues grant or restaurant revitalization or SBA debt relief, that sort of thing, it goes in that slot. How long until I get my check? That is the $20,000 question. I don't know. It'll be as quick as we can get it out. All right. We have thousands and thousands of applications. Each of them is very different than the others. And we're going to try to get it to you as quick as possible. Another popular one I get is, should I bother to submit if? The answer is yes. You can submit. It's free to submit. Don't like lie or purposely commit fraud or something. But, if you think you're eligible for the grant, submit. We'll look at it. The worst we can do is tell you no. Another fun one we get is, why can't I log in? And that's probably because your confirmation email's in your spam box and you haven't clicked on it yet. Keep that one in mind. It'll happen to more of you than you'd expect. What about my special and unique situation? This is a question that we get not quite verbatim. I love you all, but there's 30 million people in the state and well over 100,000 businesses that qualify for this grant. There's also a ton of federal and state regulations that we have to obey. When we designed this thing, we had to paint with a very broad brush, right? So some of you that need this money aren't going to get it. And I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. There's simply, just we can't make this fit everyone as much as we try. Like I said, a broad brush. We want to catch as many of you as we can. We want to help as many people as we can. And that's going to leave some people standing outside the ring at the end of the day. So we'll do what we can for you, but in the end, some of you are going to miss out. So what if you were denied previously in rounds 1 through 4? Well, if you now have eligible expenses or you fall into a newly eligible NAICS code, you can reapply. Send us an email and we'll get your account reactivated. That way you don't have to redo the whole thing. You can just sort of pick up where you left off, and we'll get you going. I think the last question everybody's going to want to know, which I somehow magically forgot to answer in 30 minutes, is when does round 5 open? And the answer to that is 9 a.m. on February 1st. And when does it close? So we will either run this one until we run out of money or until the legislature tells us to stop and do something different. So we're going to award round 5 on a first come, first served basis. Now there's plenty of money left. This doesn't mean that you have to like panic submit, or if you have a technical issue that you're going to miss out. But February 1st, it goes live. And if you give us a perfect application, we're going to review it, we're going to get it through, and we're going to get you paid. So that's how that's going to work. So now we are going to turn on the questions, and you guys can ask us some questions, and we'll answer them as best we can. Remember, this is for round 5. If you have questions about rounds 1 through 4, email us. You could try to call us. I know a lot of people prefer the phone. Guys, we've answered or sent over 16,000 emails since July, and there's 2 of us. We've gotten thousands and thousands of phone calls. I can't get on the phone without missing phone calls. Your best bet is going to be to email us. So first question we got is, I applied in an earlier round. My status says accepted. What does that mean? Email us. This one's about round 5, but accepted is a good thing. So if anybody has questions about round 5, I'm sure I must have missed something. Somebody must be curious. We're not really getting a whole lot. This is a smaller crowd than rounds 1 through 4. Oh, as a note, while people are coming up with questions, we'll post this to YouTube within a few days. Give us about a week, but it's usually a few days. Our marketing team's pretty good. We'll have it on our YouTube site. You'll be able to find it on our website, but you can review this as many times as you want.
All right, it looks like we got some questions in. So let me see. So somebody asked, does COVID marketing or documentation count? So like website costs. So that's going to be a no for like if you have to pay like I guess that would be a fee or something for your website. That's not something that is eligible for our program, unfortunately. Okay, somebody else asked. Let's see. So for nonprofit, how should we calculate loss? What lines exactly do we use on the 990? Okay, yes, we do have an answer for that one. So on that one, I think it's, let me
Line
look up,
12.
is it line 12? Okay,
Yeah.
it's like the revenue, the gross revenue. So just look at the line 12 on your 990, and that'll tell you what the gross revenue was for that year. Joshua, somebody asked if we could go over eligibility. Can you go over eligibility just really quickly, just the main points?
Yeah, sure. So you have to have a decline in revenue from 2019 to 2020 or 2020 to 2021. You have to have been open before January 20th, 2020. You have to fall into one of the NAICS codes that we're going to post on the website. There's quite a few of them now. I can't remember them all. You have to be operated in Texas. And Mike, did I get everything? That's about
I think so, yeah.
the bulk of it. They'll be on the website, of course. You can look in the FAQs if you don't see it there.
Yeah. So somebody else asked if they have a storage rental, where they keep their equipment, if that's an eligible expense. It's not, unless it was like used for the primary business location, then it would be eligible. But if it's just where you store equipment, no, that's not eligible. Somebody asked if someone received a smaller amount than the full 20,000 in the first round, can they reapply to get the full amount? Well, that depends. If you received a smaller amount, it's most likely because that was the amount of loss that your business suffered between 2019 and 2021. So it's probably going to be a no, unless that smaller amount was due to like your expenses. So since there have been some months that have passed, you'll possibly have like more payroll expenses that you could use. So in that case,
Yes.
you could apply for more funds, basically.
Yeah, just send us an email and we'll get you set up with basically your old account. You'll be allowed to add more stuff and we'll add it up. It's still a 20K cap. So like if you got 15K last time, you know, and you submit 7K this time, you're only going to get 5K. But yeah, we'll allow people to go up to the 20K.
Okay. Another question that I've seen a couple times is if someone was denied because of their paperwork and their taxes weren't done correctly, if they could reapply. And that really just depends what was done wrong on the taxes. Most likely, you know, if you've haven't like amended it officially with the IRS, that's probably not something we can accept. But it just depends. So you can email us and we can take a look and see.
Yeah, one of the things that we really wanted to do during the whole program was introduce a little more flexibility into that, but that's really difficult to do for a lot of reasons. But I think we've managed to get a little wiggle room now. So if, you know, you applied as, you know, X ineligible NAICS code, but you're really a travel agent, we can probably maybe work with that now. So email us and we'll get you going.
All right. So somebody asked if they can get a copy of the presentation. We'll post this this recording onto our website, so you'll have access to that. All right. Somebody asked, how does fine arts and education organizations approach this grant? What are the common items organization and fine arts apply for? So that's just going to depend on your NAICS code and how that entity is classified. So if the entity has like payroll costs, things like that, they file a 941. then it's pretty easy, straightforward to apply. But yeah, it just really depends on how you're classified based on your NAICS code and if you have eligible expenses or not.
Yeah, the eligible expenses, I mean, they are what they are. They're very limited. So that's what basically everybody's trying to get reimbursed for. Oh, here's one, a good one. Basically, there's a couple on here that say, if I've already gotten awarded, like if you've already gotten awarded the full amount, you can't get another 20,000.
Mhm.
That'd be cool, but we can't.
The I think somebody wants clarification on equipment storage. Again, if it's like you're paying a fee each month to a storage unit or to place equipment, that's not something that's going to be eligible.
You can send it though. We'll look at it.
Yeah.
You know, I can't make any guarantees. Like I said, our eligible expenses are very, very narrow. So
All right. So someone asked about payroll reimbursement. Are paycheck documentation sufficient? And what dates are eligible? So paychecks, I'm guessing that's kind of like the system you use. So yeah, if it's like an official system you do your payroll in, and you have like the documentation for that, that's fine. We'll take a look at it. And then the dates, so anything after November 8th of 2021 to the day you apply, basically you can submit payroll costs for that time period. Let's see.
here, so basically we aren't eligible if we don't have a storefront amusement business. That's not what we said at all. You could have payroll. You could have COVID mitigation. You could have any of the other eligible costs. If you were only going to file for, rent or lease or utilities, yeah, that would stop you. But if you have those other things, you don't have to worry about it. Credit reports, no, we don't check your credit score. There's no reason for us to. You can have bad credit, you have good credit, it's fine.
Someone asked if they were declined, can they request that we reopen their application so they can resubmit? Yes. So I mean, you don't have to start from scratch. If you think you have like more eligible costs, you can put towards the application. We can definitely unlock that for you, so we can consider you for this 5th round. Yes, we can do that. All right. I'm not seeing too many more questions come in.
The eligible expenses will be listed on the website, usually in the FAQ, unless we decided to like pull them out, but they're definitely in the FAQ. There'll be a question 2 inside the FAQ. I know I said I wasn't going to answer anything about rounds 1 through 4, but can you update us on those still waiting for payment? You can log in to your account at any time to check your status. If it says in progress, that means you need to do something. That means we sent you an email that told you to fix something, or you never certified, which is bad. So you need to do that. If it says submitted, that means it's either being reviewed or is in line to be reviewed. We've reviewed every application in the system pretty much at least once at this point. If it says accepted, that means I'm going to give it one more brief once over. And as long as I don't see any problems, you're going to be in line for payment. If it says dispersed, that means we've mailed you a check, and if you and it's coming through the post office. So those are the statuses as of now. We're going to try to, get it out as quick as possible. We've really expanded on how many reviewers we have now, so we're moving a lot faster. Sometimes the reviewers are a little new, so they might, ask you for something that's in there. Be patient with them. If they give you any trouble, let me know, and I will chastise them appropriately.
Somebody wanted us to clarify how they demonstrate loss. So basically, we'll look at your tax documentation from 2019, 2020, and 2021. So if you show a sales or revenue loss from 2019 to 2020, or from 2020 to 2021, so like your sales went down, your revenue went down between those years, then that's how you would demonstrate a loss for your entity.
And that's only decline, right? If you replace the roof on your business and that costs you a bunch of money, we don't count that. This is due to COVID, right? COVID did not tear your roof off, but COVID may have reduced your sales, right? So that's why we look at that.
All right. As somebody asked about submitted, what that status means. It just means we're reviewing it, or it's being reviewed. So yeah, just hold, if it says submitted, just hold tight with us, and you should hear something or see a status change soon.
Yeah, there's a couple bottlenecks in the system where like somebody has to QA it, and that takes a while. But a lot of this is people are used to like the last round of funding where it was like PPP and stuff, where like, I don't know, you wrote your name on a Post-it note and the government just sent you like $500,000. So there was a lot of fraud during those original COVID relief funds. Okay. And about 58 billion is what they've caught so far. That's what they've caught and so far. So there's a lot more. So we can't, just hand out the money. We have to make sure that this stuff is good to go. And we're going to return your application and you're going to say, well, this is silly, but like, it has to be this way. We have to have all of our, I's dotted and T's crossed. So bear with us. Can we let you log in and create your stuff earlier? No. It opens February 1st, right? We had a lot of people in the beginning who opened their accounts. We said, hey, if you're a restaurant, this goes live November 1st. And they decided that they were going to do it in July. And that really messed up their accounts and has caused a lot of havoc for our tech team and for the applicants. So trust me, you don't want to do this before February 1st. You can't anyway at the moment, but it's going to go live. If I can get the tech guys awake before 9 a.m., I'll have them sitting at their desk at 9 a.m. and they're going to press the go button or whatever that looks like inside the computer system, and you'll be good to go. All right, I think I've eaten up a good chunk of your time, and most of this is the same questions over and over. So yeah, we'll post this on YouTube. Check out our website. If you need us, we are always an email away. Right here's our email address, tourismrecoverygrant@gov.texas.gov. We answer that pretty quick. You can also call us, leave us a voicemail. Sometimes our voicemail inboxes are full. Sometimes we're on the phone, we're at a meeting, we're away from our desk. Your best bet is to email us. We always get back to that. I might answer your email at 8 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, but I'm definitely not answering your phone call at 8 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. All right. So that is it. That's all we have. So I appreciate everybody coming. Feel free to reach out to us, anything you need. And, we'll do our best to get you and your application across the finish line.